Hey everyone, so let's get started. So if you're watching this afterwards, I started doing live shows every weekday at 1:30, and I've decided to start uploading them afterwards. So yeah, every day, well, not every day, every weekday at 1:30 Eastern time I'm doing a live show, and today I got an interesting one. The product I'm doing today is a belt hook. Never done one before, so it should be interesting to do it. Also, another thing is I'm prototyping this, and I never really have done prototyping live. Normally I kind of play with it and then do the video afterwards once I figured out what I want to do. So that's kind of exciting too. Yeah, so just waiting for the forge to get heated up and we can get going. So a lot of this steel I'm going to be using today is just going to be mild steel, and it's going to be quarter inch round. That's the steel I'm going to be starting off with. So yeah, why belt hooks? So last year I was able to go full-time with blacksmithing, so I was able to go to shows that I've never been able to be a vendor at, and some of the shows are medieval themed kind of shows. And one thing I was doing while I was there, as well as sell it, I was looking at what I could make for other makers from a tool point of view to make their lives a lot easier, or make their setup look cooler. And also, what were they selling that I could, make my own twist for? So one thing I noticed was what people buy at medieval, like Renfest kind of things, is stuff to accessorize their outfit. So of course I'm thinking about what can I make. I could do armor plates and stuff like that, and that is something I might play with later on. But I remember watching movies, and people would have this big key ring and it's on their belt. So I figured, you know what? Let's give that a shot. So what I'm first going to start off with, I usually have pieces already cut of my quarter inch. Usually they're anywhere between, a lot of it I will do 7.5 inches. I'll have a whole bunch already cut. I do that for my shell pins, or I'll do 8 inches for my candle scribes thing. So I often have already this stuff cut. So I'm going to start off with a 7.5 inch piece and see how that works out with the ideas in my head. So we'll get that heated up, and we'll get going on it. Yeah. So I do have chat going. I will answer questions as they come up as best as I can. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Get some coffee. Let's update the text too. So the tongs I'm going to start off with is, these are actually 3/8 tongs that purchased from Princess Auto, which is basically the Canadian Harbor Freight. and I've been quite happy with them. I did buy them when they were on sale, and I've been quite happy so far with them. So I've had to adjust the nibs or bits. So these are just mild steel made out of, most likely. So I've had to readjust them here and there. Most of my tongs, I find that you have to readjust them once in a while after use. They just separate a little bit. So, and that's just heating up the tip and hammering it back in. Almost forgot my safety glasses. So the first thing I'm gonna try out is I'm gonna actually do the hook first. So I'm just gonna taper it like I normally would with a J hook. So taper it to a square. Once I get the taper on a square, knock down the corners for my octagon. Plenish that a little bit. Then I'm going to curl the end. Well, if you see me looking up, that's because I have a monitor above that camera there that tells me the chat. So I'm just seeing if anyone's in the chat at all. So now I'm going to do the hook. So I'm going to quench the tip, go over to my anvil. And the reason why I'm quenching the tip is if you don't, it's going to squish your curl on the end. So I'm going to pull that in a little bit. Because I don't think I'm going to need a big hook on this. I don't want it to stick out too much, so go for that. And I think that might be a good size. So now I'm going to go on this side and do the piece that actually will hook into the belt. I'm going to do it with the hook down first. Actually, I'm going to grab a little bit more. I'm going to flatten this down. So I'm going to first start off with a hit off the anvil, like half on, half off, and then go up and actually just flatten the rest of it down. So very much like you would do a regular J hook. And then the next step, I'm going to actually take the piece that I just hammered over, or hammered flat, and curl that around so it can actually hook onto a belt. Now, one thing I think is going to be the trickiest thing about this is to make that curl go around nicely so it does go over a belt, but not too much that it sticks out too much. So we'll see how that goes. I haven't done this before, so this is kind of fun. So one thing I'm trying to do is, on Fridays, I really want to get into the experimental thing, doing stuff I haven't done before. We'll see how that pans out. So for the rest of the shows, I'm going to be doing stuff where it's like regular stock. So just building up the stock of stuff I've already sold. If I have tools that I have to make, so like new tongs or new dies, going to be doing that as well at the beginning of the week. Maintenance around the shop. So if I have to change my oil on my air compressor or do some work on my bandsaw, I'm going to include those on some of the videos too. And also, there's going to be just some videos where I might just talk. Who knows? Especially if I'm doing a video where, like, I'm bending up my horseshoe nail hooks or something like that, where I'm not really forging, but I want to make it a little entertaining for you guys. Yeah. So you can look at something while I'm talking. Yeah. And if you see me rocking out, I'm sorry, I'm listening to music as well. So, sorry. So the first thing I want to do is, because I want a little bit to be, so you can easily loop it on your belt, I'm just kicking that very bottom of it off. Out, I should say. And then I'm just going to do 90 degrees down here. And then I'm going to just kink that over. Straighten it out a little bit. And see where we're at on this. Let's see where we're at on this. I think I'm going to bring it in a little bit more. So it kinked over on one side a little bit too much. So I'm just going to use a chisel to hold it a little bit. I'm just going to see if I can separate it a little bit. Yeah. Let's see how we're doing on that. Yeah. Well, let's cool that off. Try that out. Okay, so it's a little bit too close together. And also, I think my little nub back here is a little bit too big. So, I'm gonna grab a piece of flat bar. Okay, I'm gonna grab a piece of angle iron. This is a little bit bigger than 1/4 inch. I'm just gonna hit that down a little bit. See how that feels. How's that feel? Yeah, I think. Yeah, let's pull that down a little bit more. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool, eh? Yeah. I think that's actually a good size for it too. So that's one style. Let me see. Ah, my cup. So this is, yeah, you know, gonna hold a cup on there. Yeah, I'll walk around with a cup. Yeah. So, that is my one style I'm gonna do. That's my one style I'm gonna do, and I'm actually happy that I'm able to use a size that I already cut. So that's nice. Now, with something like this, I'm probably gonna wire wheel it, do a beeswax finish on it to help prevent from rusting. Or I will, while it's warm, take my wire brush off any of the nasty scale, and do linseed oil on it. Might actually do bow finish to see which one people like more. Now, one thing people might not like is that this kind of style sticks out from your body. So I want to do one that this is actually turned sideways, so it's actually against your body. So yeah, let's get on to that. So same size, 7.5 inches, 1/4 inch, round. Get that heated up. And as I'm making this, I'm actually thinking about how to do this in a production, small batch kind of thing. So a lot of the stuff that I make, like I've said a couple of times, is in small batches where I'll have 4 or 5 irons in the fire at the time. So as I'm making one of these, I'm actually thinking about that as well. How can I make it as consistent as possible, as fast as possible? So as you saw, that was 3 heats, which is not bad. I probably could squeeze that down to 2. The main thing is that space behind here. And what I might do is I might make a little jig that fits in the hardy hole. That's just like a piece of flat bar, so I can get that space in nicely. Right now, how the spacing is there, it's tight enough that it fits on my belt. My belt is actually one that I bought at the medieval fair from a leather worker. So, and it is actually a little bit on the thicker side, their leather, which is nice. So, yeah, that's all the things I'm thinking about while I'm making this. And is it, you know, practical, I guess, and yeah, how fast I can actually go with it. So again, with this one, I'm probably going to do the same, where I'm going to do a taper on the end. So we're going to do a taper to square. Knock down the corners to octagon. And one of the things to make clean tapers is that when you're doing that octagon, to make sure that all 8 sides are the same. Well, we got the curl again. So we're going to quench the tip so I don't squish it when I start going around the horn. So I'm actually now flipping it around. And like I said, going to be doing this same thing on this one, where it's the loop that goes into the belt, but I want the hook to be in line, well, not, you know, sticking out from your body, but against your body. So this is going to go that way. So when we start flattening this out, this one we did where the hook was downwards when I started flattening this out. So what I want to do is now go on one side to flatten it out. Gonna heat on that. going to just start moving that around. Well, I forgot to do the little nub on the end sticking out, so it's easier to get on your belt. I really need to find a piece of flat bar for this. What do we got? Okay, this is a piece of 1/4 inch. Oh, getting a little wonky on that one. Woo. So that didn't really work out too well. I'm going to just quench that now and give that a little try. We got a little bit of a kink on this hook, so let's try and straighten that up. Okay. So right now, I didn't notice this before, but my hook kind of, whoop. So let's get that straightened up a little bit. Right now it's sticking out. And we want that as close to the body as possible. So right now I'm just trying to find a piece of angle iron that I can use as a dirty jig, like a quick jig, on my vise. looks a lot better. Let's give that a shot. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't think that sticks out too much. Put your keys on there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, so that's two styles. So one that's right up against the body and then one that sticks out. Now what I might want to do is I want another one that goes kind of up against the body, but I want to make this more of an eyelet so the hole here is not as big. So we're going to pop in the same size. So this is 7.5 inches. 1/4 inch mild steel. 1/4 inch round mild steel. I'm going to flip you over to the anvil. And on this one, we're going to do a taper again. So taper to square. Octagon. Replenish that down. And then we'll do a curl on the end. Nice. Quench the tip so I don't destroy it. Tip up. So just to give you an idea of the difference. So this is the more open one, and then that's one is the one I'm working on now. And what I'm thinking is actually doing a little bit more of a, bring that swing over a little bit so it's more of an eyelet and it goes straight down in the middle. If that makes sense. Kind of like in that shape. So we'll flip it around and we'll do the part that loops into the belt. While I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna actually I gotta cut more pieces because I only got 3 left of that size. So I didn't know what size I needed. So I'm just gonna set up the bandsaw so I can get pieces cutting while I forge those 3. Sorry, I don't have a camera over here yet, so what I'm doing is not really helpful to you. But basically I'm just setting up a stop on my saw so I can easily cut a piece, reset, cut a piece. Now with this one, again, I want, like the last one, I want it to be close to the body. So I'm trying to find a nice place to grab it with my tongs so I can easily do that. And I'm gonna grab roughly about, I don't know, 2.5 inches again. I'm going to do the first blow at the edge of the anvil and then flatten the rest of it. Oh, I want to go the other way. Just doing a little bit of a kink at the bottom, again, to hook it onto the belt. And then we'll get that looped around. We're just going to start bringing that over. Bring it over to my piece of angle iron. And I'm going to just flatten her around the angle iron. Flip it around so I can actually get the back side of it now. Now, unfortunately, my little kink to help it go onto the belt got a little bit out. So I'm just trying to lift that a little bit so we can get that on the belt a little bit easier. So that's basically the third style. Let's get that a little try. Give that a try. Well, now I closed it up too much, of course. Yeah. Oh yeah. Woo. That looks pretty good, eh? So nice when things worked out roughly how I want them to. So this one I wouldn't mind kinking that a little bit more over. You know what? That actually might not look bad. Yeah. Yeah, I think with this one, the little bit more closed one, wouldn't mind having it a little bit more where the bottom of it, like the center of the bottom, is a little bit more in line. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to tweak that cold. I don't bash my fingers. Can I? This is actually really hard to hold on to. Yeah. That's better. That's nicer. This camera sucks. Yeah. So that's the 3 styles. So I'm going to make a few of these now, so I can try to see how they go on to sell. So while I'm waiting for those to heat up, cut a couple more pieces. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to do another 3 of each style. And to be honest, I have no idea if people will be interested in these and which one they'll be more interested in. That's why I'm doing a small batch of all 3. And we'll see how they go. And depending on how the sales are, then, well, I'll just make more. In the comments, which one do you think is going to be a better seller? So this is going to be the style that sticks out. Woo! Ah. Yeah. Boom. Okay, so now get the next 3 in there. So now I'm going to do the one with a little bit more open hook, but against the body. So again, taper to square, octagon. Plenish that up. And yeah, I had a mishit on this one, so it's going to have a little bit of hammer marks on it. Do the tip, curl that over. Now we're going to quench the tip again. We'll do a little hook. We'll just flip that around, heat up the other side now. And again, quench the tip so you don't mangle it. Start working around the anvil. And we're going to flip it around. What direction did I did the first one? I want to match the direction on all of them. Okay. So again, parallel with the anvil the hook is this time. Yeah. A little up bit on the end there, so it's easier to clip on the belt. Start folding that over. Make sure it's all aligned. Bring it over to my angle iron. Just close that gap a little bit. repeat that on the other two. We're just going to fold that over. I'm going to go take it on the, with my hammer, take it over on the angle iron. After I drop it, so I can get a nice size on it, make sure the hook side of it is where I want it. And then, yeah, there we go. And this is going to be the last one of this style for today. We're going to take it over to my little angle iron jig. I'm going to actually use my tongs to crimp it a little bit closer together. And that's number 3 done. So now we're going to move on to the more closed one, eyelet one. So now 3 irons in the fire. Okay, so again, we're going to start off with the taper on the end. Curl the tip. And we're going to rinse and repeat with the other 2. we're going to start doing the loop. And what I'm checking for here is to make sure this is lined up right with the center of that and making any adjustments that I have to right now. I think that's good. So we're going to flip it over so we can do the part that does in the belt. So again, quench the tip so I don't destroy it. Yeah, it looks good. And because this one I want to be close to the body, I'm going to have the eyelet or hook in line with the anvil. There we go. Whoop. And we'll just do the same on the last two. Close this one up a little bit too much. I'm just going to grab another pair of tongs just to pull this in a little bit more, because it got a little bit off. Okay, we'll just do a little bit more heat on that one, so I can pull that piece back over. So it went a little bit, whoop. That back over so it's nice and aligned. Nice. There we go. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream today. Yeah. Have a good weekend, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everyone.